Hi, this is Bryce with Frostbite Cosplay. Today we're going to talk about how to make rebar for cosplay, specifically out of EVA foam. Now we're going to be using these foam dowels that I picked up from TNT Cosplay Supply, as well as a little bit of yarn and some barge cement. Now this is a pretty messy process, so make sure that you've got a suitable setup for that, so that you're not ruining anything as you're creating these rebar. So we're going to go ahead and take some barge, put it in our little cup here. Now, next thing we're going to do is go ahead and take some of our yarn. I find that for dowels it generally takes 3 to 4 times the length of the dowel, depending on thickness of yarn, to get this wrapped around correctly. So now we're going to go ahead and measure out our rebar. In order to make this look as real as possible, you want it to look as consistent as possible. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and make a silver mark every ½ inch on my foam dowel. What this is going to do is make it so that I can be consistent and make it look machined and like real rebar when it comes time to put the yarn on there. Alright, so we've got our marks every ½ inch. Now we're going to go ahead and put on some gloves because this does get really messy. We'll take our yarn and soak it in our barge cement. Now this is something you want to be careful with. Make sure that your yarn goes in such a way that it's not going to get any knots or tangles in it, because it's already going to be sticky and hard enough to deal with without adding that to the mix. So we'll go ahead and get that all patted down in there, let it soak in really well. Going to wring it out as we pull it out. Alright, now we've got a really sticky piece of yarn. We're going to go ahead and wrap that around our EVA dowel, making sure that we match up with those ½ inch marks. And we'll just keep working our way down. Now, once you've got this all on there, you're going to want to let the barge cement cure for about an hour before you seal it. To do that, I went ahead and just pushed a push pin into the top because these are still extremely light, and then use that push pin to just hang it from one of my clamps that I use to hold things up while I'm painting and such in my paint booth. Now, once we get this all wrapped and it's sat and cured and everything, I'm going to seal it with just some black Plasti Dip. Like we talked about in our last video, with Plasti Dip, you want to make sure that you warm the can in just a cup of warm water for about 10 minutes before you use it. But so we've got a little extra yarn here. We're going to go ahead and just clip it off. Like I said, let that cure for about an hour, and we'll hit it with some Plasti Dip and come back. Alright, we've got this all Plasti Dipped and ready to go. Now I'm going to take just some acrylic paint in a gunmetal gray and brush it on so we've got a good metallic undercoat. So any place that isn't rusted is going to show through like metal and make it look a little more realistic that way. So we're going to do just a little more than dry brushing here. We don't want to put a lot of paint on there. We want it to dry quickly, and it doesn't need to be a thick or even coat. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and anywhere that I want there to be rust, we're going to apply some Mod Podge. Because this is Fallout and I want this to be post-apocalyptic looking, we're going to just put rust everywhere. This is some old beat-up rebar, so we're going to brush it on there really well. Alright, now I'm going to take some iron powder that I picked up off of Amazon, and I'm going to put links for the dowels and this iron powder in the description so you can see where to pick them up. And we're going to sprinkle this iron powder on there. It's going to stick to the Mod Podge and give us a base for our rust. It's nice to have a setup like I do with this paper here, because you can just fold it and use that to kind of funnel the excess back into your bag so you're not wasting a bunch of it. Now we're going to hit that with some setter. Now I use a mixture of 6 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, a tablespoon of salt, and a tablespoon of lemon juice, just in a spray bottle. I'm going to spray that, let it sit for about an hour, and here's the final result. As you can see, we've got a good piece of rebar. It's super light, retains its flexibility, totally convention safe, and will work great for our costumes. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope this has been helpful information, and we'll catch you guys at the next video. Again, thank you very much for the support.